Good evening. The opinions and statements voiced by our guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this network. Enjoy the shows.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Presenting travel writer and sacred mysterious site hunter, Teal Gray.
Good evening and welcome to Paramysteries. I'm your host, Hill Gray. We are coming to you live on WBHM-DB radio out of Birmingham, Alabama. Tonight, I am so excited. My special guest for you is Linda Anthony Hill. She is an award-winning author of some of my favorite books. I actually bug her to hurry up and get on with the next sequel because I can't stand to wait. And I'm honored to have a quote on the front of The Anchor is the Key. She also is the owner of Hill House Manor in Gainesville, Texas. We're going to talk to her about all of her books that she has out. She's even won awards for her cover art, and she has some children's books out. She's multi-talented. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Linda.
Hi. I'm flattered.
I'm glad to have you here. You know, there's so many things that you do. You're fascinating. I'm very proud of you. You have really taken the writing world by storm. You have several awards and best-selling books and art, and it's just great because you have it not just for nonfiction, but you've also written some children's books, which I think, you know, the one that you wrote, I believe was for your grandson, was really great because it's so helpful, I think, for children to understand if they have gifts, which I think are gifts from God, and abilities to help to understand that. I think your book is very helpful there.
That was intended that way. I think that children especially are sensitive to the other side. As people
Yeah, they definitely are. And Linda, I'm gotta just tell you, if you wouldn't mind speaking up for us, we can barely hear you there. But children certainly are sensitive to the other side, and I think sometimes they just don't know they're not supposed to be. You know, they are still so sort of semi-connected that they just haven't learned sort of the rules that are put upon everybody as you get older that, you know, don't talk about that. You're not supposed to say that. People think you're crazy. So, yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. So, you know, you also have several books. So let's just let everybody, just to start with, because I know some people love to look things up and they're checking out Amazon and everything while we're speaking with you. So if you wouldn't mind, why don't you tell everybody the titles that you have available and how they can reach you? And then I want to jump in a little bit on your Hill House Manor in Gainesville, which, whew, the spooky place.
I'm still trying to work out if you can hear me or not.
I can hear you perfectly now. You're great.
Okay. I was on a headset. I disconnected it.
That'll do it every time.
So did that fix the problem?
Yes.
Okay, good. I can still hear you, so everything's cool.
Right.
I've written about 9 or 10 books, and the subjects are varied. Like there's one book that is bookkeeping for authors.
Oh.
That wouldn't appeal to anybody unless they're an author, a new author, or an older author, whatever. It just breaks down accounting into something simple to digest when you haven't ever had to do any business accounting.
Mm-hmm.
So that you know what you can deduct and what you need to save receipts on, and you know how you need to. Anyway, it's what it says. It's bookkeeping for writers or authors. I've got everything from that to the 2 Madame Celeste books, which are fiction. The Anchor is the Key is the first one in the series, And the next one is called The Spider House. And there's a big spider on the cover. Anyway, I enjoyed it.
Oh, I love it. You know I do. I would just pester you for like sending
I
more
enjoyed
chapters.
writing it. The children's books, I have actually, most people don't realize it, but I have 4 children's books out. One of them people don't know about because it was written as I guess a work of love, that they call it, when you do a non gratis. Is that what it's called?
All right. All right.
Or gratis or something like that. Anyway,
Right.
it's for a school in Kenya, Africa. And it's about a little boy who lives in a village with no electricity or water. And he has to go a long way to go to school every day. And he's trying to decide whether he's going to stay in school or become a man and work, with his the adults in the community. We did that because there's not a lot of books written for children in schools like that are sponsored by Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the books they're going to have, the children's books, they're going to be about American children.
Right. Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying?
Something so relatable.
Exactly. We tried to make it relatable.
Yes. And in fact, I ran into that when I was doing something to try to put some wells in Africa. So much was missing. And I thought that was so amazing that you had done that book in that way. And that was one of the first things I found out about you. So, I thought, oh, that's so wonderful because yeah, I did. I know. Hey, I check you out. But it was something I was fascinated with. And I think we've always just been so busy when we meet, we try to cram in, 5 years.
A year into it and an hour.
Yes. And but no, it really is important. And I think that's wonderful that you did that and have that
train coming.
Oh, well, I'm sure something spooky will happen.
Oh, they don't need the trains.
Now, I want to ask you, we'll go back to the books and everything, but I have to ask you, now I know that for anybody who has no idea, I don't know where you've been, but listen, her Hill House Manor is very popular and very spooky in Gainesville, Texas. I've been to it. And I've been to places all over the world, and I have to tell you, that place is so active, day or night. It doesn't matter. It's just so many different spirits. And I've always thought, the first thing they told me when I went there is the spirits were like, she's our caretaker. They actually love you, But you've had some spooky experiences, and I know you don't wait at Hill House Manor for groups anymore. Tell us about that.
Well, it was a few years ago, and it was after the time change, so that it was dark at like 4:00 in the afternoon or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a hunt going on that night, and I wasn't sure exactly when they would be there, but I went over and I was setting things up, and I was in the dining room of the main area, and I was about to light the fire, and I turned and was organizing some books that were sitting on a shelf, and my back was to the front door. Mm-hmm. And I felt somebody come in, and I could see them out of the corner of my eye. They had walked in through the front door and into the parlor.
Sure.
And so they were early, but I'm used to that. People show up early, Mm-hmm. So as I turned to welcome them and ask them to have a seat, there was no one there. Mm. And I ran to the door, and there was no one in the outer entryway. And I went to open the door, and the door was locked.
Ah, yeah.
And I said, okay. And I walked back over towards the fireplace. It's not a fireplace, it's a heater. But it's a Coleman heater. Not Coleman, Dearborn. And Anyway, I was afraid to turn my back to the front door again.
Yeah, you know somebody's with you. You're like, okay.
So I stood there by myself and waited for the team to arrive. I didn't even want to turn my back far enough to light the heater, because that would be completely turning my back to the front door. And they like to mess with me. Like if I'm doing something in the back of the house, they'll make a noise up at the front of the house that sounds like my husband talking to someone.
Ah.
And I'll walk up there to see, what's going on, and there's nobody there, and the door is locked. And, I used to work over there. I have a room set up in the back, and I did dental laboratory work back in the back of the house.
Right.
I gave up. I finally just, I moved it. I couldn't do it.
You're like, no, I don't think this is the place for work. Well,
no, it really wasn't.
Yeah, that is so spooky when you just know you're not alone,
Right.
There's somebody there.
I mean, I could see them out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was just feeling somebody there, because I'm not a psychic. I'm sensitive, but I'm not a psychic. But I mean, I could see them. So it was like a shadow person, I guess, or something. I don't know what it was. But it scared me because it was dark.
Yeah, and no more of that.
Things that happen in the dark are more scary than things that happen in the day. Well, you would think so.
You feel a bit more vulnerable. I will say though, my craziest moments have happened in the broad daylight, but that's just me. Now, something happened recently.
Yes, it did.
Tell us about it.
Tuesday afternoon. I was on my way home from an appointment, and I had to pass in front of Hill House, and I said, well, I'm going to stop off and go in, because there had been a hunt Saturday night, and I hadn't been over because it's been so drizzly and dreary, and, I just didn't want to go over there. But I needed to see if they had left the heater on, and they had, so I turned it off, and I was just straightening up, taking out the trash, that kind of stuff, and I was walking toward the front door to take out the trash, and I heard the door close. Now, I'm still in the kitchen, but I heard the front door close. And I thought, okay. And I walked up towards the front door, about in the same place I was at when this shadow person showed up. I looked over, and both the front door, the actual front door, was ajar about 4 or 5 inches. And the door to the safe side was open, all the way open, which I had left it that way, I'm sure. But I started walking towards the entryway to see if someone had come in. And I heard a woman talking. I mean, not talking like a conversation. It was like, hey, it was just real short.
Right.
And it startled me, because it sounded like she was like at the bottom of the stairwell or somewhere in the entryway.
Well, and let's face it. I mean, in this day and time, well, probably any day and time, but these days it could be anybody in any mental state and capacity. You don't know.
Exactly. But this was in the middle of the day. It was like 2 p.m. So these things happen in the daytime all the time to me too. But anyway, I walked over and looked around, didn't see anybody. So I took the trash out real quick and locked up and left, and was reminded why I don't sit there and wait for people anymore. Because they like to mess with me. They like to see me startled. They must enjoy it, because they do things all the time. Just little things like
a kick out of that. That's something that they thrill for, I'm sure. Now, you have been on a very famous TV show. You've been on, you've been on several, but you were recently, not long ago, I think it was last season, Housewives of Dallas were there.
Yes, they were. They came and did an episode there. And
there was lots of screaming, squealing, and running from rooms.
they had a good time.
They did.
They
And
haven't
you
come back.
kept that secret. You kept that secret so well. You really did. It was great.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You know, you've also been on very popular, another popular show, My Ghost Story. And
Yes.
was it for Hill House Manor, or was that another house?
No, that was for Hill House Manor. That whole story is a little weird. Jimmy Billman, who was one of the first people I met in the paranormal community, and he was very active in it back then. He had a team, and they went to conventions and set up tables, and they were very active.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gotten out of it now, but he wanted to do a tape to try to get on one of the shows, like My Ghost Story.
Right.
And he wanted to spend the night in Hill House by himself. And I said, okay.
You asked for it?
You want it? Okay. So I went over the next morning to see how he was doing. It was probably 7:30 or 8 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to the door. He was white as a sheet. I mean, he was terrified. And
so that's something he captured.
He captured with his own eyes. He was sitting at the desk, which sits by the front door. He was sitting there with his computer on the desk, and he heard something in the kitchen. And so he kind of rolled back. He was in a rolling chair. He kind of rolled back a little bit so he could see into the kitchen. And there was a man standing there at the doorway.
Wow.
And he fought his fear and got up and went to check out if there was someone had broken in.
Because again, you never know.
Yeah, you don't know. To the kitchen. So he went, and there was no one in the kitchen. There was no one in the bathroom. The window was shut in the bathroom. There was nobody there.
Wow.
And it chilled him to the bone. He was scared.
Sure.
And so he sent a tape. He got me to do a little talking while I was there. And he put me on the tape, and he sent the tape to My Ghost Story. And so they flew us out to LA, and we taped most of it in LA.
Okay.
But then they sent someone to Hill House to do what they call a B-roll. And he just shot images of the house and me doing things or standing still in a room or, that kind of stuff where they zoom up on you and then zoom back. And
sure, a bit of a reenactment. Sure.
It was a full day. And they call it B-roll because there's no vocals. It's all just video.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the story that they liked was a story of one time after we had stopped renting the house out to people as a residence, and we had converted the bedroom into a makeshift bedroom for us to use on the weekends because we were coming up to Gainesville from Corinth, actually Hickory Creek. We were coming up to Gainesville and spending the weekend. Well, not really. We'd come up on a Friday afternoon. We'd work for a few hours, and then we'd go back to Hickory Creek, and then we'd drive up here Saturday morning, and we'd work, most of the day. And if there was a ghost hunt, we would stay. And if there wasn't, we would go back to Hickory Creek. And we finally just converted it into a space for us to use as office space and whatever. Anyway, one afternoon, I had been tearing up floors at some house, and it was in this summer. The afternoon was like, the sky was, the sun was in the middle of the sky. It was that early in the day, but it was probably at least 4:00 in the afternoon. I had worked a little too long. I was sweating too much, and I just said, I've had it. I'm done for the day. And I went over to the house, and I went into the bedroom. I said, he had already beat me to it. He was already relaxing on the internet in the room with the air conditioner.
He was taking it easy. Let me, Linda, stop you right there. We need to go and let everybody meet our sponsors. So we're going to step away for just a couple minutes. And when we come back, we'll find out what happened to that relaxing moment, because I can guarantee you it didn't last long. So we'll be right back, everybody.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama. Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
This is Jason Bland, host of Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, where we stream live as a webcast every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, with guests who will blow your mind. Live ghost box sessions where you can call into the show to see if the spirits will talk to you, and the world wide web of weird with the latest in paranormal news and evidence. We're bringing the weird every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Mysteries on WBHM-DB Radio out of Birmingham, Alabama. I am your host, Teal Gray, and we are here tonight speaking with our special guest, Linda Anthony Hill. She is a best-selling author and owner of Hill House Manor in Gainesville, Texas. She was just telling us that, like all haunted houses, this one can definitely interrupt a bit of a casual moment. And her husband were trying to relax there. And Linda, I got the feeling it didn't go well.
Well, it didn't go bad at that point. And I have to preface this with the fact that I had just lost 15 pounds. And I was proud of it.
Yeah.
But I needed to get in the shower and cool down because it was hot. And the house had 2 air conditioners. One was in our little bedroom so we could close the door and be nice and cold at night. And then one was in the living room, not the living room, the dining room. And that kind of had to cool down the rest of the downstairs. Mm-hmm. And so we left the bathroom door open to let some of the cool air in. because there was no vents. Anyway, so I go into the bedroom and I get ready to take a shower. And my husband looks at me and says, "Oh, looking good." And I was like, "Thank you," because I was really pleased with myself. And so I went on into the shower, and I'm standing in the shower, just letting the cold water, wash all the sweat and grime away, because pulling up carpets is dirty. Anyway, after a couple minutes, my husband appeared at the door, the open door to the bathroom. And again, he said, "Looking good." And I was like, "Thanks again.
Thanks so much.
What are you up to?" And, we talked for a minute, not even a minute, maybe 15, 20 seconds. And he turned and walked toward the front of the house. And I thought he was going to get some coffee or something. Well, within about 30 seconds, here he comes out of the bedroom again and stands in the door and says, "Who are you talking to?"
Oh, no.
And I was like, "Oh, my God. Oh, my God."
Wow.
I said, "I was talking to you." He said, "I've been in the bedroom." Now, when you're the only two people in the house and someone's talking to you, you expect it to be the other person in the house.
Exactly. And also you're in the vulnerable naked state there in the shower.
Right.
I mean, it's great that they appreciate the good looking woman that you are.
Well,
However,
there's more
a disembodied voice is not always what you want to hear.
There's more to the story. It freaked me out. Once I found out that I hadn't been talking to him. It didn't freak me out at the time because I thought I was talking to him. And anyway, so we went to Hollywood and we came back and told the story and, all of that. And they were shooting some film. A B-roll isn't without volume because they did use a piece from Hill House. Anyway, they were getting some of Jimmy's story, and he mentioned the way the guy was standing, the guy that he had seen when he rolled back from the desk.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned something about the way he was standing. He was standing in almost a John Wayne kind of way. And I said, "Wait a minute." I went back to my room in the back of the house that nobody is allowed to go into. And I had a bunch of pictures of my late husband. But he was in the military, and the military travel in groups. They do activities in groups. You never see a military guy out camping by himself. There's 15 of them, You see them helping each other with whatever projects are going on. So I had all these pictures of groups of people. And a lot of them had the same people in them. So I brought those out and I said, "Jimmy, do you see him standing here in one of these pictures?" And he went straight to my husband.
Wow.
And it had never occurred to me that could have been my late husband.
Yeah. That wouldn't be your first thought. Of course not.
A tear came to my eye. It was like, oh, my God.
Sure.
And then I thought about it. And the way he said "looking good" sounded more like my late husband than it did like Dell, my husband.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then I got really freaked out.
You're like,
he doesn't hang out there all the time. People don't run into him all the time, but people have mentioned things to me that made me realize that it was him. So
maybe
he
caretaker, for the property.
Right.
Takes care of you, making sure you're safe.
Making sure the house is safe.
So many people, I can't tell you. I can't turn around without having 10 people tell me, "Oh my gosh, this happened to me at Linda's place at Hill House Manor. This happened. You won't believe it." So, I know we don't have a lot of time to go into detail, but what are some of the things that most people are frightened by? Is it a certain room? Is it?
Oh, no. It's
just
the whole house.
It's
the whole house. It can happen anywhere. It can happen on the stairwell. It can happen on the staircase. It can happen in the bedroom, the other bedroom, any place.
Now,
any place.
where was it that you had the experience, quite a back and forth with the ball that was rolling to you? Like
I didn't have that experience, but it was a psychic that had that experience.
Okay, was it
And
upstairs,
she
downstairs?
rolled the ball in the window room, which has 15 windows.
Wow.
And she rolled the ball. And now this house is not level. It will never be level. The wood has warped into the shape it's in.
Mm-hmm.
But that room goes downhill from the stairs towards the outside of the room.
Okay.
And she was sitting by the stairs and rolled it downhill, and it stopped. And she said, "Now please roll it back to me." And I was watching that, so I guess I was there. That ball rolled back uphill.
That's the thing that I noted was it was going uphill. You know, it wasn't
going uphill.
Exactly.
Right. So that wasn't. Now you've seen my crystal ball video where the ball goes to a complete stop and then starts back on its own.
Mm-hmm.
That unfortunately was not taken at Hill House Manor. That was in the house I live in.
Well, you know, you got to have home away from home there.
Right.
So do they see everything? They get apparitions, they catch.
Oh, they get everything. You know what? My latest book is called Hill House Manor, 13 Ghost Stories. And it is influenced by, each story is influenced by Hill House Manor, by stories that people have told me of what happened to them.
I love those sorts. That's great.
Some of it takes place in the past. Some of it takes place in the here and now. Some of the stories involve investigators and investigations. Some of them don't. There's clowns. There's Indians. There's all these different stories. And it actually is 14 ghost stories, but I don't count the 2-page story at the front of the book.
Right. Gotcha. And can people get that? Can they have that on Amazon? Is that available?
Amazon. Yeah.
Okay,
Amazon.
Great.
Or if they're coming to Jefferson next weekend, they can pick up a copy and get it signed.
Yes. And tell everybody about History, Haunts, and Legends there.
That's in Jefferson, Texas. And it's amazing. It's an event that Jody Breckenridge coordinates. And there will be ghost hunts Saturday night that rotate. So if you've got a ticket, you'll be investigating at one house for a while, and then you'll have to get in your car to go to the next haunted house to investigate for a while. And then you'll get in your car and go to the next haunted house. And I don't know how many she has, probably 4 or 5. And it's a blast. You'll have a team at each house with equipment and stuff so that, you know, you can use your equipment or their equipment. And I'm sure everybody will be wearing masks and practicing, you know,
distancing. Well, you know, your table is always so amazing because you have a lot of books, as you said, and different things. And so you'll definitely be able to spot Linda at her table. And because it's always so beautifully set up. I love it. And, you know, get your book autographed right there. So if you can possibly do that, absolutely do that. That's great. And so that's on a Saturday. And I believe it starts something like 9:00, goes to 5. So you'll want to get there early. And I know they take a little break for dinner. And then the hunts begin, I think, around 6 or so. So it's a full day and evening if you get the chance to go down there. I think
it's always fun. It's always a fun time.
It is. I love it.
And there are speakers in 2 different speaking halls all day long. Dakota's not going to be there this year.
Yes. He and I are both not.
You're not going to be there this year.
Not this time. Next time. I'll be there next time.
There's going to be plenty of people that are
it's a full roster.
Fun.
The poster is amazing. All you guys, it's so much, so many gifted people, so much talent. You'll have in varied areas too. There's people who, you know, are into cryptozoology,
Yep.
and the UFOs. There's people that are ghost hunters. There's, people that are, also just
there's a couple of ex-police people and detective kind of
yeah,
people,
which
and
I love that.
uh-huh.
You get all these different perspectives. It's a fun time for sure. Well, now, Linda, what's on the horizon? I mean, I know sometimes you do even events that are, virtual events. You will join in. You've been a part of, some of the largest ghost hunts across the world and all of that. What do you see going on in the future? Just people can still rent time and bring their friends or a team.
In fact, we had some caretakers that moved into our bedroom, and we moved all of our storage stuff up to the kitchen and closed it off. And they knew about Hill House Manor. They knew it was haunted. They knew there was activity day and night, and they wanted to do it. And they needed a place to live, and we are kind-hearted. And so they moved in, and they didn't last as long as some of our tenants did. They lasted about 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
And they said they couldn't take it anymore. In fact, they started drinking towards the end of it, which, that helps a lot. You're not going to see anything if you're drinking.
Of course not.
So they left.
That's longer than I would have expected them to last, really, as active as it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's not everybody's cup of tea.
It is. So at 4 months, they were kind of, we're getting out of here. And it took us another 2 months to get them to come get their things out of the house because they were that freaked out about it. So that kind of burned our fingers a little bit about a caretaker. So we gave up on the caretaker idea. But we were approached earlier this year or late last year, I don't remember which, by a group called Ghost Reapers Paranormal. It's Kendall Kane and Ann Merle and, the team. And they said, we want to help you. We want to volunteer. We want to help fix the place up, clean the place up. We want to help. And maybe we could have some investigations, every once in a while. And I was kind of leery of it, and Dell was kind of leery of it because, we've had people volunteer before, and it turned into a couple of hours cleaning every 6 months and huge ghost hunts, more often. And so we kind of put it off a little bit, but finally they came over one weekend, and they did so much work that weekend and got so much accomplished. And we said, okay.
Gave you some faith.
Here's a key. And they come over at least once a month. They come over and just tidy up. And they come do a deep cleaning. They've done 2 or 3 deep cleanings since they started doing this, and they haven't been doing it a year. I mean, they emptied out the storage area, Teal. Completely emptied out the storage area and cleaned it, cleaned it, ripped the carpet out of the living room up front. So the activity is off the charts.
Sure.
But they everything they emptied out, they either got rid of or they stored in the little kitchen on the storage side. So that every room over there is now investigatable. You don't have to wear a mask. There's not 1,000 orbs.
Well, that's great. I mean, and that's just because there's so many that give it a bad name. There is a lot of teams that are really wonderful out there, and I'm glad that you found one. So now that'll be able to open that up and get you some more people that can be coming in and having new experiences there. That's wonderful. Well,
we've gone from the 4 cameras that we had to, I don't even know how many. There's probably 16 or 17 cameras that you can monitor from the command center.
Oh, wonderful. That's a big difference there. Yep. What do you think? I know that, everybody's got their opinions and thoughts, and I know there's been different ideas, but what do you think makes Hill House Manor so haunted. I feel like it's grown and attracted different, hauntings to it, spirits to it. But
people bring their own sometimes.
Oh, sure, sure. But what do you think? Do you think it's the land? Do you think it's the...
Somebody suggested ley lines, that we should check out ley lines, and I don't know what a ley line is. So,
Well, I'm writing a book about them, so I'll come and help you with that. Ley lines are power. They're like power grids that wrap around the earth. And my book is part of what I call Sacred Derkos, which is sacred forwards and backwards, because I have the belief that ley lines, which are quite powerful, run through the earth, and they can boost either the positivity and make places quite sacred that I visited, and I feel like they can also take it in a different direction and have very negative effects on places and make them very haunted and sometimes very dark. And it's just been my experience through my world travels, and so we can talk about that. But I will say that's certainly possible. That's something that could definitely be. It's fascinating.
Well, we're also within a stone's throw of a railroad track,
which
has lime base. And that's known to generate energy. I mean, a train going by can generate energy up to 1,000 feet away.
Sure.
And we are not 1,000 feet from the railroad tracks.
You're not. And if I remember correctly, you also have those big electrical tower by you. So that's another thing that will draw energy. But we are about a minute and a half from our time with you. And
okay, so
sure that everybody
look for
knows
me on
how
Amazon. Look for me on Amazon, Linda Anthony Hill, and that has all my books. I have an author page on Amazon.
Right.
All of my books are good, and you need to read every one of them. Even if you're not an author and don't want to know about bookkeeping, you need to read that one too.
Actually, that's very true. And I tell you what, read The Anchor is the key. Read my quote on the front. It says it all. I mean, you really are like, Agatha Christie goes into Linda's house. I just love it. I love the characters are so rich in your book. I just can't wait for more of it. And you have been a very interesting guest, and you're a dear friend. And I so look forward to more adventures that you're going to take us on in your books and your stories. And hey, listen, everybody, contact her and take your team, take everybody out there and go and see what you find out and let us know. We would love to hear your stories on Paramysteries. Linda, thank you so much. Everybody, we're going to go take a little break, introduce you to some of our sponsors. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
This is Jason Bland, host of Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, where we stream live as a webcast every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, with guests who will blow your mind. Live ghost box sessions where you can call into the show to see if the spirits will talk to you, and the World Wide Web of Weird with the latest in paranormal news and evidence. We're bringing the weird every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Paramysteries, everyone. We are coming to you live from Birmingham, Alabama on WBHM-DB radio. And we have a special segment tonight on Paramysteries for you. We're going to be talking to folklorist Susan Hill. She's a best-selling author and speaker, and she has also started a new Facebook page about this because so many people are loving her segments on here, and she has just put out her first urban legend book. She has another one coming out in 2 weeks, and I think another one in a month after that. So she's a busy gal, but we are excited to have her on the show tonight and really look forward to hearing what she's going to tell us. You never know. Susan, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
You are a popular gal. I think they love you more than me. They're only keeping me on so they hear you every other week.
Well, yeah, no, I'm no good without you.
So what do you have, what adventure are you going to take us on? What spooky trail are we going to follow you down today?
Well, tonight we're going to visit Arizona.
Oh.
And because it's close to Halloween, I figured we'd just go full out, and I'm going to take you to the Devil's Highway.
Yes.
So, there used to be a highway called, it was actually US 666.
Oh,
and yes, and I've actually been on it. I'll tell you that story, and after I get finished kind of telling you the big. But yeah, they've actually changed the name to US 491 because, of course, nobody wants to have a road name. 66. Plus, all of the signs kept getting stolen, so we're tired of replacing them, I'm sure.
I bet.
But right. So, yeah, there's all kinds of crazy things, as you can imagine, that are reported on this highway. It's a pretty long, straight stretch, and there have been an insane amount of fatality accidents on this road.
Mm.
And when they changed the name to 491, the number of fatal accidents actually declined dramatically. And so it's kind of weird. Was it because of the moniker of 666, or is this more of us, you know, freaking out because we're on Highway 666?
Right.
Who knows?
Just assume and bring that to your experience.
Exactly. So one of the things that people have claimed to have seen for actually a really long time is one of the black sedans. People, you know, and you hear a lot of stories about this actually all over the U.S. But this one is, people claim it is the devil himself, and that he chases people in their cars and will actually run them off the road. And also they believe that he'll come up behind you really, really fast with his bright lights on at night. And you will keep seeing those no matter how fast you go, you keep seeing those bright lights in your rearview mirror. But as soon as a person turns off to the side of the road, the lights disappear and nobody passes them. And there's no car around.
Definitely a phantom.
Exactly. Then we also have hounds of hell. People have seen packs of giant wolf-like hounds running next to cars, running the same speed as cars. I have to
tell you, Susan, I believe it because they have even unearthed at a church in England the giant bones of a hound of hell dog that is written about in the 1500s by a priest. But we'll do another show about that. Tell us about your hounds. These are the states.
These dogs, yeah. And these dogs, apparently people, they blame a lot of the car wrecks on these as well, because they say that they'll, chase these cars. Sometimes they'll jump out in traffic in front of the cars and cause them to swerve. And there's even been claims of these dogs, if you have your windows rolled down, these giant dogs jumping into the cars and attacking people.
Oh, God, no, thank you.
Exactly. So have your windows up. This is not a road to have your windows down on.
Exactly.
Also, of course, we are in Arizona, but oddly enough, cars randomly overheat when they haven't had any other issues, or they just die. You'll just be driving and they just shut down completely. And usually at night, when there's not very many cars around, there's also a phantom 18-wheeler with an extremely angry driver. They say that this driver is mad because he died in a wreck, and he's angry at anybody who is living. And he'll run your car off the road. People have actually claimed to have been hit by the truck, and then the truck just disappears, but their car is completely demolished.
Really?
And there are actual police reports of people claiming these things. Yeah, so
and so it has the physical damage. So it's not just something that where people would say, "Oh, well, you have to dismiss that because that's just something in their mind," or even if they saw it, it's not real. If it's denting, if it's crushing the metal of a car, I feel like that's real enough, right?
Yeah, there's got to be something, because it's not like there's giant trees all over the place in this area. There really aren't. There's also a young girl in white, which, there are a lot of ladies in white hitchhikers, but this one's a little bit different. People say she's not menacing at all. She always kind of has this look like she's scared or she's worried about something. So when a driver pulls over to see if she needs a ride, she just disappears. She never tries to get in the car or never tries to ask for anything. She just disappears.
That's those girl ghosts and children ghosts, all of that sort of thing, does always kind of freak me out, because I would be yeah. I don't want you to hop in the back of the car, ghost.
Exactly. And so another thing, we've got some Native American things going on also in this area. Obviously, it's a very largely populated Native American area. But the skinwalkers, and a lot of people know about that because of the show that's been out, and so people have heard a lot more about that.
Yeah, I met some of the film when I was in Arizona last time, and it's very interesting, that ranch, that story. That's very interesting.
Yes, I wrote about that one in my Utah one, but that's going to be a while. But but they actually, people claim that, and even the Native Americans in the area talk about skinwalkers being known to be seen in that area. And a lot of Native American tribes actually believe that, not all of them, but a lot of them actually believe that skinwalkers were originally medicine men in their former life.
Okay.
And so they came back as a skinwalker. And so people have claimed to have actually seen skinwalkers change from human form to different types of animals on this road. in front of them. And they also say that a lot of times these skinwalkers will just show up on the road out of nowhere. And the legend around that is that if you actually see a skinwalker when you're driving down this highway, it's actually a warning for you to turn back and don't continue on your trip.
Oh, okay.
And if you don't listen to this, pay attention to that and turn around, then it's possible that an evil shaman may show up inside of your car and try and take your soul. And this is what causes a lot of these fatal accidents. Because when you die in the wreck, he's able, when you're in transition, to steal your soul.
Yes. They just walk in spirit. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So there's also, we're not done yet. There's also claims of time slips happening. And these are, you know, you got truck drivers. These guys, they're always on the road. And there are people, truck drivers, normal people, I mean, just all different kinds of people talking about how they know, you know, when you put it in your GPS, it tells you how long it's supposed to take.
Yes.
And all of a sudden they'll have a time slip, and then they look down and they're like, there's like 2 extra hours added onto their trip.
Yeah.
Like they come out of some sort of.
I believe it. You know, I'm a big skeptic. I'm a skeptical believer.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought, I don't know what I thought about that, right? Except that I had it happen to me one time, only once. And it's been some years ago. I was driving from Dallas to San Angelo. So it was about almost where I was going is about 6 hours. Okay. But it was a bit of a reverse to that, because it's impossible. You're not going to get there sooner. It just takes a long time, and you're driving through a lot of desert and just like, it's up far.
Right.
Well, I got there in the clocks, and there were people with me. So we were all still to this day kind of checking our, you know, mental stability about this, but not everybody's watch, not the car, not the GPS, not everything's going to be wrong. Correct. But I got there. There's no way that it happened, but I got there in less than 3 hours. So, but we also had sort of a weird experience, you know, all together, and no, it wasn't imbibing on anything. But we had the experience of like a feeling, it was a weird feeling, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like you're seeing signs and you're almost there, and it's like, you can't be, but we actually that in reverse.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, that's strange. That's very strange. But yeah, people claim that. And then there's also been a lot of disappearances up and down that road. And some people actually return. There's been people that have disappeared and, of course, have never shown back up. Their car has completely disappeared. They've never found anything. And then there are some people who disappear, and they may be gone for hours or sometimes weeks. And then all of a sudden they'll show up on the road, and they're like, they have they show up where they were going. And then people are like, where have you been? And they have no idea that it's been that amount of time,
that length of time.
Because as far as they were concerned,
that's the time travel and time slips are fascinating to me. They really are. Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of these people that make these claims, you're kind of going, okay, you're not like, you know, like actually, you seem like a pretty together person, and like you're not making this up for any reason.
I feel like we should trust you.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, I am loving,
so
I know everybody else is, these urban legends that you have in your books, doing very well. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And now I know you still have more to tell us, but just to make sure we get it in there, how can everybody reach you and get your books?
Okay, so you can always find me on pretty much any social media outlet. All of my stuff is either under Susan of the Hill, or my company name is actually Ravens Light Entertainment. And I'm also a local legend hunter. So those are the things that you can find me under. And you can always find my books on Amazon, also available on Kindle. And I'm going to be I'm going to cover the globe. I'm starting with the United States because I live here. And I'm going to be releasing a full series of the United States, and then I'm going to tackle the globe. And we're just going to hit all the places and also going to look at some older legends that other people know, or people generally know, but then some people don't understand where they came from or what the purpose of it is, because a lot of legends,
Get to the roots of it.
Truth, and some of them were used to keep people under control, like teenagers. So
your tactic. Now you're going to also be at History Haunts and Legends coming up this Saturday, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. So people can even go there and, have a book signed from you. And you're going to be gracious enough, because I can't make it there this time, to carry some of the Lavender Crow products with you. So I appreciate that very much.
Yes, I am.
So everybody, Susan, we love your segments, and Susan is here every other week. So you'll have to keep joining us to hear more of her legends. Go by and visit her in Jefferson, Texas on Saturday at History Haunts and Legends. She's going to have a great day and lecture for you planned, and you can get your book signed there. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us again on Paramysteries. And this is your host, Till Gray. And I want to thank WBHM-DB Radio out of Birmingham, Alabama for hosting us, and we wish you a very blessed night. Thank you, everybody, and have a great week. We'll see you here next Wednesday. Goodbye.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.